It's good to see you again after a marathon hearing at the House of Representatives yesterday on the proposed 2018 budget. Today I'll discuss two things. First is the performance of government spending in the first half of the year. And second, the job opportunities for those who wish to join government, including teachers, general civil servants, and military and uniformed personnel. First, on public spending. I'm glad to report that disbursements in the first half of the year have reached 1.6 trillion, higher by 273 billion or 20.5% year-on-year. Compared to the program for the first half of 2018, actual spending is also higher by 34.4 billion or 2.2%. This performance is unprecedented because we are ahead of the fiscal program for the first time in history. This quicker spending should translate to more classrooms for our students, better transport systems for our commuters, improved health and social protection programs for the poor, and improved overall public service provision. Spending for infrastructure and other capital outlays continue to soar as it hit 352.7 billion in the first half of the year, up by 103.6 billion or 41.6% year-on-year. This also puts actual infrastructure disbursements above program. Let me repeat that, above program by 14.4 billion or 4.3%. Indeed, build is underway. You may refer to the press release provided on government spending for the specific growth drivers and projects that boosted public spending in the first half of the year. Revenue collections also beat the program by 105.7 billion or 8.1% as it reached 1.4 trillion in the first half of the year. The better than expected expenditure revenue mix resulted in a much benign deficit picture. The actual deficit for the first half of the year is 193 billion, 71.3 billion or 27% lower than the program deficit of 264.3 billion. Now, with the better than program figures of revenue, spending, and fiscal deficit, we will continue to spend wisely and promptly to service the huge needs of our people, especially in public infrastructure and social services. Next, on job opportunities. About 264,000 authorized positions in government have yet to be filled up, according to our data as of July 30, 2018. Let me repeat that. 264,000 have yet to be filled up. Making up a huge portion of the vacancies are teaching and teaching-related positions. Teaching and teaching-related positions with more than 125,000 vacant positions, or 47.4% of the total number of vacant positions. So close to half of the vacant positions in government are teaching and teaching-related positions, followed by general civil servants with more than 90,000 vacant positions, or 34.2% of the vacant positions in government. Next will be the military and uniformed personnel, which the 34,000 vacant positions, or 30%, while medical and allied medical jobs and around 13,900 vacant positions, or 5.3% of total vacant positions in government. We cannot deliver our programs or services as efficiently and effectively as possible without our civil servants there doing the work. So DBM will be issuing a circular soon directing all government agencies to fill all authorized positions available to them or risk abolition of positions left unfilled after 5 years from creation. So at the same time, allow me to personally invite all qualified persons to apply for positions in government. Your country needs you. If your calling is true service to your countrymen, join government. Or even if you just want to understand how government works or not work, try government service. Related to this, there will be a jobs caravan on August 12th. This is organized by our build agencies, and the infrastructure-related job openings in government will be unveiled in the jobs caravan. By the way, I believe the infrastructure agency heads, Diokno Secretary Artogade, Deputy Secretary Mark Villar, BCDA President and CEO Vince Dizon, along with DOLE Secretary Silvestre Bello, are giving a press conference later in Malacanang on our jobs efforts. That's it, and I'm now ready to take your questions. No, these are plantilla positions. They've been there as authorized positions, but they have remained unfilled for a few years. In fact, I'm telling them that if you don't fill this up, I'm going to abolish this position.
Sir, did these agencies cite reasons why these positions remain vacant?
There are many reasons. Like, it's really hard to attract applicants. For example, the judiciary is like a number of vacant positions, right? So how do you attract people to join the judiciary from the private sector? But right now, because of our series of salary adjustments, the salaries in government are now very attractive. So for those who would like to join government, we can compete with the private sector with respect to the entry-level positions.
How competitive is your salary compared to private?
Well, teachers alone, I think studies would show that the pay of teachers are twice that public school teachers, twice that of private school teachers. There are some regions where it's 3 times higher. Like in the arm, the teaching in the public sector is much better than in the private sector. In the medical profession, nurses, I think there was competitive. And in other positions, you can ask some people around here.
You're confident you have enough number of qualified?
That's the challenge. Let's find out if there are qualified applicants, because there are some qualification requirements.
For example, PAPSA teacher palang.
You have to pass first of all, you have to have the degree in education. Yes, education, and then you have to pass an exam. Okay?
And we all know you have yung problema private school na yun eh.
Yeah, they are, private school teachers are migrating to the public schools. As soon as they pass the exam, they migrate because of the higher pay. So, but you know, I think every year we graduate something like 1 million. Not 1 million teachers, but 1 million college graduates. Yes,
Secretary, I believe this issue was raised yesterday in the budget hearing. Could you remind us how much the budget allocation is for the 264,000 jobs?
We don't have that. Do we have the number? How much is the amount involved for the 264,000?
For 9 million under the MBTS. For the teaching and non-teaching, for the teaching positions already in the agency budget, 100%. For military uniform, 100% agency budget. For medical allies, medical workers, 75% in the agency budget.
So how much is the total? We'll give you the numbers.
But for GCS,
some of them, they are treated differently. Teaching positions, it's already in the government budget. health positions, 75% in the Department of Health, and then the military also in the agency budget, right? But the rest are in the lump sum called miscellaneous personal benefits fund, which we release the money if there is actual hiring, okay? So we don't want to give the money to the agency yet until they really hire people.
So, is this, has this gone up year to year?
Now this is fairly constant, right? The number of unfilled positions is fairly constant, except for the military, right? We've been creating several thousand positions, and they have yet to fill up. Right? And there are requests again next year. Yes.
Sir, you mentioned this yesterday. Can you just ask an update on the government right sizing? I believe your earlier target was in 2019, and how will it affect the jobs in the government?
This actually refers to unfilled positions, authorized but unfilled, right? So that means that if the authorized position has not been filled up for the last 5 years, then there's a signal that maybe the agency does not need those positions. Okay? They can function without those positions. Okay? But if there are reasons like it's hard to recruit, they cannot compete with the private sector, then that's another matter. Okay? But I know that the judiciary is also expanding. Teachers, of course, because the number of kids in school are increasing. You have maybe an average growth of 1.8 to 2% enrollment. So we expect the teaching and teaching-related positions to increase. Although right now they still have many unfilled positions. Yeah, by the way, this percent of total unfilled positions is total of the, how many again? 264,000. Okay. You can actually a more helpful presentation will be to find out how much this is in relation to the number of authorized positions. So that's approximately 12.5%. 12.5% of authorized positions for deaf and teachers are remaining unfilled. Okay? There's one agency, Department of Finance, more than half of the authorized positions are unfilled. I don't know what these positions are. So if you want to apply with the Department of Finance, they have a lot of unfilled positions. Okay? Department of Health, 23%. So almost 1 out of 4. Unless you're a nurse or a doctor.
Sir, most of these positions are in the outside PCs there.
No. There are some central office positions, some regional positions. So there's a lump sum for filling oppositions, civilian, for this year is we have set aside 20 billion. Okay, so I think they just have to have an active recruitment exercise. Go to major universities and recruit. And we advertise. Yes,
Sir, are there notable jobs or positions that are at risk of abolition sooner than the others?
We'll find that out.
From what
We'll find that out. I'm going to issue a circular and then tell them they have to come to me and say we don't need these positions anymore, so that we can clean up. Okay. So if the position has not been filled for the last 5 years, I think that's a pretty good candidate for abolition.
Does it cost the government yung mga unfilled position? For example, do you allocate fund for another?
There's a standby fund called the Miscellaneous Personal Benefits Fund. So we release it to the agency, except for those agencies I mentioned, Health and military. So we don't release it to them until we actually fill up the positions. There's no cost to us.
Under savings lang.
There is savings kung hindi nila fill up.
Which is bad then.
So, no, not necessarily bad, because that saves the taxpayers money if they don't fill up the position. Then, but we don't want them to not fill up the position and then suffer the service. Right? They cannot say, you don't have enough manpower yet. As you can see, there are a lot of positions.
Yes, sir, if they don't have enough manpower, why do you avoid it later?
Yeah. For example, the Department of Public Works, I'm sure they need more positions at this time because the level of activity now has, I think, at least tripled. So they need more engineers, more project supervisors, etc.
So, when is the deadline for these agencies to tell you what they need money to go?
I'll issue the circular soon, maybe end of September. It's a good time to evaluate the need for these vacant positions
And when will you determine which ones you will remove?
before the end of the year.
The 5 years will not start on the issuance.
5 years of creation. Yes, there are various years, variable years.
Sir, yung next year nila dagdag na 10,000.
These are for, there are some positions to be created next year, like 10,000 for military, right?
Is that the same, sir, na pinag this year?
Excuse me?
Is that the same number that you added this year?
Yes, that's the same number, but they have not fully filled out those positions.
There will be the
Like,
same.
I understand joining the PMP is more difficult now because of very stringent requirement, including the psychiatric test. If you fail that, well, that's the requirement of PMP, right? It's not just anybody can join the PMP.
It's normal, sir, that we're adding the same number of teachers as well as schools.
Yeah, this is, go ahead and table for that.
I don't 10,000.
Already created for DepEd last year was 75,142, right? This year, 2018, 75,000. For next year, the proposal is to create 10,000 additional teachers position. And that's provided for in the NEP, right? It's already in the 2019 President's budget proposal. For the military, 10,000 policemen, 3,000 firemen, and 2,000 jail and management jail officer. There's also a request for Coast Guard of 1,497 for next year.
So yung military uniform personnel, 34,000. How many of that is police?
10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 is
10,000. Any other question? Yes.
Sir, with the signing of this some more organic growth, did you include already in your proposal budget for next year para sa implementation transition authority?
Not yet. It's because that will have to go through, they will have, that's to be a plebiscite, right? And there's already budget for ARM in the 2019-2018 budget. So we'll use that as budget for the Bangsamoro transition.
How much is the budget?
I think they would need under that law about 60 billion. And right now, approximately around 40 billion is already in. So we're looking for 20 billion. Okay, that's not a problem. We can even file a supplemental budget for it.
That's for next year only.
I'm assuming that is ratified, right? Okay?
So last note, regarding the circular. After we issue the circular, and then we get the number of positions and the number of years that they have been vacant. So after, if we learn those positions were vacant for the past 5 years,
5
we
years.
will immediately abolish it. After you issue the circular, or you will give the agencies some...
No, that's, no, if they have not filled out those positions for the last 5 years, then will award.
So after you issue your circular, there's a chance that that number will be reduced because you will abolish the positions that give the federal taxes.
Yes. That's the idea. We don't want to keep them in our books for a long time, right? So if they've been on field for the last 5 years, then there's good reason to abolish those.
There's a high chance that
The 264 might be reduced
by the end of the season.
by the end of the year. That's our timetable, right? Other questions? Yes, Mark.
Secretary, yesterday during the budget hearing, there was an issue raised regarding the DOH. You mentioned something about the city tax law. And the question was whether or not the reduction in the DOH budget violated the city tax law. Could you clarify your statement during the hearing, sir?
Yeah, but looking at the numbers, there are some appropriations we did in 2017 plus 2018, and that adds up to about 50 billion. Those are projects that are hardly moving. Okay, so for 2016, 2019, I decided not to provide anything except for 50 billion for monitoring. So we'll find out the provision of the law and see if we are compliant or not. Okay? We have not looked at it this time.
So it's still unclear, sir, on the buyer?
Yes, it's like first studying the matter. Okay. Because I thought that what's the point of putting in another 30 billion when there's 50 billion that has not been moving for the last 2 years. That 30 billion can be used by other agencies.
Fiscal amount.
Fiscal, okay.
Sir, as of now, you're way below your program's deficit, right?
Yes,
You're
yes.
way ahead of your revenues despite above target spending. So, is it safe to say, sir, that the national government will end the year with below 3% deficit, like what you had in the past year?
Well, we don't know that yet. Okay.
What's the emerging?
Yeah, there's a likelihood that that might take place. We may not hit 3%. As you can see, actual deficit for the first semester is 193 billion. Our target is 264. Okay. Last year, our target was 3%, and we only did 2.2% last year. Okay. So there's a likelihood that we might not hit that 3%.
You're confident that it will be higher than 2.2?
Oh, definitely.
Sir, could you say something about the growing debt projected at 8 trillion next year? Nung nabanggit na niya kahapon, pero...
Yeah, then there's a misconception that the right metric when you're looking at the debt of a country is the absolute level of debt. That's not true. The correct metric is debt as a percentage of your GDP. Okay? And our debt to GDP ratio is fairly modest. It's around 40% and declining. Other countries would have a debt to GDP ratio of about 200%, 250%. Japan would have that. You know, their debt is at least twice the size of their economy. Receipt doctrine says that if your debt to GDP ratio is 60% or lower, you're in pretty good shape. Okay, you can still borrow money. Okay? It's like when you assess your personal finances, right? If your debt to GDP ratio is, let's say, 25%, you're pretty good, right? You can still borrow money. But if your debt to your income ratio is 100%, you're in pretty bad shape. Right? So it's like that. It's not the absolute level of debt. Our debt right now is somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 trillion. Is that correct? 70 trillion? Or 70 billion? 70 billion. Okay? 7 trillion rather, 7 trillion. Okay? Our GDP is in the neighborhood of 19 to 20 trillion. Okay? That's the estimate. So we're very good shape. So the fear that we're going to have, what is called a death trap, that's also, another, I call it fake news. Yeah. Unlike other countries, we don't borrow money until it passes some threshold. Our threshold right now is a rate of return of 10%. Okay? It used to be 15%. In other words, if a project can give you a rate of return of 15%, then, and you can borrow money at a much lower cost, let's say 5%, then it's a no-go decision. Now, because interest rates right now are low, our cutoff now is 10%. Any project that will give us a rate of return of 10%, which is much higher than the cost of borrowing, then it's a go. For example, that subway, I think if I'm correct, the rate of return there is at least 20 to 25%. And we can borrow money at 0.1%. So it's irrational to reject such a project, right? A rate of return of 25%, you can borrow money at 0.1%, 40 years to pay. It's a no-brainer. It's a go. Okay? So unlike other countries where they borrow money, like the one cited yesterday in the hearing, they constructed, what did they construct? A project in the town of the president, which is not viable, right? So the project failed because it's a white elephant. And we don't do that. Okay, we are very strict in our in vetting what our projects are. So the 75 major projects definitely have an internal rate of return of more than 10%. Yes, why?
Some economic numbers are coming out, Secretary, inflation and GDP for staff. What's the economic management team's expectations for these numbers?
Ask me after our meeting. We have a meeting after this, the economic managers.
The BSP mentioned that it could be...
We expect the inflation rate to go back to between 2 to 4% next year. Yeah.
Regarding the
July inflation, what I don't know yet. It could be a little bit up, a little bit down. We don't know. Let's just wait. It's only a few days. Okay? Let's not speculate.
The BSP said it could go as high as 5.8%.
That's the range of the BSP, right? Maybe I don't know whether they're managing the news or managing expectations. No, they're managing expectation rather, right? So if they say 5.8 and it becomes 5.2, then that's very good. Very good.
Sir, maybe ask what the agenda of the meeting will be about later today. Is this after your discussion with the House Speaker yesterday?
Later? No. This meeting has been scheduled long before our meeting with the Speaker Aholo. We had a meeting yesterday during the break. So this has been scheduled long before. But it will be the same subject matter, inflation.
Meeting with
the economic managers, BSP, Finance, DBM, and the NEDA. Okay. At the Department of Finance, you might have time.
Sir, sorry, just going back to the job vacancies, why is it again that there are still plenty of vacancies in teaching and teaching-related positions when salaries have already been increased?
I think some positions have been there, but the dynamics of government change. Right? Maybe they would need less people in regulation, they need more in promotion, something like that. So some agencies have not been able to clean up their list of workers. Okay? As you know, we have been moving towards deregulation, right? So siguro marami silang lawyer position before na baka hindi na nila kailangan ng lawyers, they need more like promotions officer. So we want them to review the list of unfilled positions. Maybe there are so many low-level workers, right?
Sir, sa
Yung mga, for
teaching,
example, yung mga taga-Xerox, hindi mo na kailangan yung Xerox, diba? Hindi mo na masyadong kailangan yung Xerox. So, abolish those positions.
for the teaching jobs,
For the teaching, I think it's more siguro yung recruitment. Because you really have to pass the exam. What is that exam?
Licensure examination for
LCT, no?
LT.
Yes, education exam. I don't know what that is.
parang kulang, sir, nakakapasa nun?
Ay, pagka-graduate mo kasi, hindi na necessary yan. You have to review and then you have to pass that. So, ang nangyayari ngayon, because the salaries in public schools are really attractive, papasok muna sila sa private school habang nag-review sila. Basta nakapasa sila doon, pumunta sila sa public school. That's actually what's happening. So you can hear a lot of complaints from private schools. They're losing a lot of their people.
Sir, I understand DepEd has a pending request for an increase in the salaries of guidance counselors.
yes.
Kasi there's a big shortage, they say.
That's right.
I understand.
We're acting on that. There's a request, may request tayo.
They have not submitted yet, but
Yeah, we heard about their needs, so I'll meet with Secretary Briones this Friday and I'll pick it up. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
May concentration in terms of the area where these mostly resume
Concentration, mga teaching positions.
and those jobs together.
Mostly teaching positions nga sila, tapos
teaching positions sir sa retail siya kasi all over the country.
yeah, okay. Department of Justice, marami na Department of Justice, 4,900, almost 5,000 positions out of 20,000 positions unfilled. So medyo nahihirapan siguro sila mag-recruit ng lawyers kasi mataas ang sweldo. They're competing with the private sector. Diba? So you have to convince a lot of these people, especially new graduates, that working in government is a worthwhile investment. Okay? In other countries, like in the US, if you work in the government for at least 2 years, especially sa treasury, you'll be heavily in demand for the private sector. Pag-aagawa mo 2 years lang. Yes.
Sir, good morning. I'm Bernadette Reyes from GMA7. Apologies for my tardiness. Anyways,
No, that's okay.
sir, as an economist, could you enlighten us why inflation rate continues to go up?
There are two theories here. Now, what's called demand pull and cost push, right? So, for example, cost push factors like the increase in the price of crude oil, world crude oil, right? So that will increase. When we import, that will enter for example, both the consumers and the industry. So that will tend to push prices, especially compounded by a depreciating peso. Okay? So, mahal talaga yan. Now, there's another cost push factor like rice. No? I think our old people made a mistake when they announced that our reserve is only 1 day. There was a statement like that, right? It's down to 1 day until reserve. So, there's some opportunists, they started holding rice. So kaya tumas yung price ng rice. So there's less supply in the market, but the demand is very constant, so tumas siya. Yun namang demand pool, I think yung trade has something to do with it in a positive sense. Okay? Meaning, we are putting more money in the pockets of individuals. Okay? 99% of income tax filers benefited from trade. We cut the tax rate from 32% to 25%, and we increased the exemption rate to 250,000. So in other words, if you're earning 250,000 and below, you don't pay anything. So that means you have more money in your pocket. our rough estimate is that that train has increased your budget or your take-home pay by 1 month's salary, equivalent to 1 month's salary. Okay? So yun ang impact naman. So pagka you have too much money chasing after too few goods, siyempre meron increased demand. So yun nakaka-ano rin nito. In fact, I just talked to some businessmen. They say that growth in the outside Metro Manila is much faster than growth in Metro Manila for the first time. There's a lot of purchasing power out there. Okay? So, may ari mga 7-Eleven, sabi na, dami na nila 7-Eleven ngayon sa and then, Secretary Miguel said yesterday, there are now 3 McDonald's branches in Tacloban. Can you believe that? 3 McDonald's branches. So, talagang mataas ang purchasing power ngayon sa PBS.
Sir, just a follow-up. Sir, are those the reasons why the tapering off of the inflation is moved to a later date? Because if I remember it right, Secretary Pernia said that the tapering off of the inflation might come in Q3, but right now it's not happening.
Hindi, at saka yung nature ng inflation, I want you to understand this. There's a difference between year-on-year versus month-on-month. No? Yung month-on-month will reflect yung ano, from March to July, yung difference noon shows the acceleration na mag-accelerate pa or nag-decelerate. So, ang tingin namin, nag-decelerate na yan. And then the other thing is yun namang year-on-year, which is how we measure inflation. Like, you compare July this year with July last year. No? So, yung increase na price, that is going to be much lower kasi last year, yung price ng oil mataas na ng second half of the year. So mataas na yung base, you're comparing the lower base with a higher base, pababa na talaga yan. So we expect the inflation to start tapering off second half of the year and it will go back to normal in 2019 and so on. Okay? Kasama din niya yung exchange rate. Hindi niyo napapansin, bumababa na ngayon yung peso exchange rate. No?
So even if the 5.1 to 5.8 might seem alarming, it's not really what's happening.
It's not alarming. Hindi kasi yun we find that to be transitory, just transitory. It will actually go back to 2 to 4% in future years. Okay? Panahilig tayo kasi tinatapon natin yung sarili natin. Diba? So this is not scary. Okay? We're in a very nice place right now. Okay? One of the fastest growing country in the world and we are able to meet our requirements. So, give us another year, magbabago talaga yung landscape ng Metro Manila. Nakikita niyo yung mga link dyan, yung North-South link. Matatapos na yan eh. Ha? Matatapos na yan. Marami tayong ginagawa. Yung kay Ramon Ang, yung MRT 7, 24/7 din yung construction nun, di ba? Matraffic nga lang ngayon, but after that's done, that will be a big relief for everybody. The Panglao International Airport is also almost done. No? That's another achievement of this company. Okay, another question. Wala na? Alright, this is the breakdown of the vacant positions by location. Number 1 is the capital NCR. There are 48,000 unfilled positions here in Metro Manila. Second will be NCR, National Capital Region. Central Office pala. NCR tsaka National Capital Region, pareho yun, di ba? So, 48 plus 22. Okay, you can see that. So that's 70,000. And then the next will be Region 4. Region 3, 15,000. And then Region 4A, that's the Calabar Zone, 19,000. And then Region 5, at ang daming unfilled positions sa Bicol. Region 5, Bicol Region. 14,000. So kung may mga kamag-anak kayo ito, tawagin na, mag-apply na kayo sa...
Teachers lang yan lahat, sir.
Hindi. These are... And there are some, well, batas dito, Region 8, this is Cebu, no? Region 7, Cebu. 7, 8, yung 7, Region 7, 17, over 18,000. Region 8, 11,000. And in Mindanao is Region 11. Davao yun, Davao. Daming mag-apply sa Davao ngayon. The new capital city of the Philippines. Alright, any other questions? For being none, thank you very much.